Good morning everyone, and welcome back to the Runpreneur vlog, where we discuss all things entrepreneurship and running. And it's another fresh wintry morning. Feels like temperature is -1 degree, no sun but no wind, so not too bad to run in this morning. I bet a little bit cold. So it's Monday, motivation day today, where we talk about all things productivity, motivation based, and today's topic is the 60-40 time allocation rule. So as always, if you like this episode, please give it a like and a subscribe, and let's get started. So the 60-40 time allocation rule, and how do you use it? Well, this is a kind of a new one that I kind of unearthed a few months back, and it's not really, well, it is a rule. It's something that you need to understand, and so many people don't understand. Now, those of you that do any form of time blocking work for your productivity mechanism of choice is time blocking. Some people do it super effectively, where they block out chunks of time into their calendar to designated tasks, and then you have your kind of prioritization, different productivity methods whereby you're determining the purposefulness of a job, or how close it's in line to your goals, and how important and urgent it is. All these different things you can kind of do to kind of prioritize your workload and factor it into your time blocking schedule. And if you get it right, time blocking is amazing. It just means that you get so much more done in the time you've been given. However, there is a downside to it. Now, I've time blocked hugely in the past. I'm going through a period of time where I'm not time blocking as much at the moment, but it's something that I want to get back into. And the reason I'm not time blocking as much is because if you anything like humans are, well, generally speaking, we'll always say, oh yeah, we'll get that done in that time. And 9 times out of 10, you're just over-egging what's realistic. And it's easy just to say, yeah, we'll do that. But in actual fact, understanding that what's realistic expectation, what isn't. And it's important you get this right, because if you go, yeah, I'll get all that done, I'll block it out, I've blocked it all out in my calendar, no problem, it's all done. Right, but the reality is that's based around the fact that you're going to be, for those hours, you're 100% focused on these tasks. And no matter who you are, whether you've got the most optimal powers of focus over anybody, you will have elements of distraction. Okay, there will be elements of distraction. There'll be, maybe if you're homeschooling, the kids have come up to show you some work. If your wife or your husband is helping with homeschooling, might get the kids disrupt you, might get a phone call come in. Okay, you can do things to eradicate that. You might get, if you're hungry, you need to go grab a snack. Just so many different distractions that can happen, which any one of those happen, it eats into the amount of time within the time block that you've allocated to a given task. So what I'm trying to say here in a simplistic term is basically, we often say we can achieve more than we actually can because we're not being realistic. And time blocking is one of those things that can create this feeling, pure and simply because you're looking, I'm blocking that time in a calendar. It must be gospel. But the reality of it is that doesn't factor in distractions and kind of buffer and all that side of things. So that's where the 60-40 time allocation rule comes in. Now, as crazy as this sounds, but there's been a lot of research done on this, but it's realistic that 60% of your time will be focused on achieving that task. Okay, 60% of your time will be focused on that. That is realistic. 40% of that time is buffer time. It's to allocate for distractions, for kind of things that change, for having that flexibility of something happens throughout the day as a curveball, you've got to jump on it. And the 60-40 time allocation factors all that in to give you this kind of realistic overview of what can be achieved. So let's say I'm working 10 hours a day. I'm just using easy numbers just for ease of example. If you're working 10 hours in a day and you've blocked out 10 hours worth of work in your time block, in your time blocking calendar. So it might be 10-hour blocks or 20 half-an-hour blocks, whatever you've done. Okay. The reality of it is you're not going to achieve that. Okay. What you should actually be doing is you should be blocking 6 hours worth of work and leaving 4 hours very loose, so that if you overrun a task, you can move it. If you someone distracts you, it's not a problem. You've got that time factored in to deal with that, and it takes away that kind of extra stress, because there's nothing more stressful when you have an agenda you set yourself and it slips straight away. And I think that's really, really cool. And one of my biggest weaknesses as an individual is time management. Okay, I hate it. I'm always leaving things at the last minute. I'm always late, and I just need to get better at it. And all it is, it's not because I'm not organised, or I'm not planned, or I'm not productive, because I like to think I'm super good in those areas. However, what it comes down to is that I've set the expectation level too high. I've kind of said, yeah, I'm going to get all this done. And even though so often I don't get all that done, I've still assumed that, yeah, I can get that done. And I've almost falsely manipulated my mind to tell myself, to convince myself that, yeah, I'm going to get that done. When deep down, all my experience tells me otherwise. So that's where the 60-40 rule becomes super, super important. So this is a really, really cool episode today, because it's enlightening for me talking about it, because I've known about this for a long time, but never really taken it and implemented it. So I'm going to be doing more of that now. I'm going to look at things and think, right, if I was 100% productive today, I'm going to get, all of this done, right? However, let's be realistic, we're never 100% productive, and I think that's false to think we ever will. The most productive people are 100% productive for 60% of the time. Now, that's a slightly different way of looking at it, but those people are, because they're so 100% productive for a realistic time frame, they're achieving far more than the people that are trying to be productive for 100% of the time, which isn't possible. So I think that's quite a nice summary. So we'll leave it there today. So as always, if you've got any questions on this stuff, drop me a comment. But this one should be an eye-opener. It certainly was for me, and it certainly shows a lot of flaws in my enthusiasm for achievement. It kind of wanders too far away from reality, and I think hopefully that's useful. So any comments, drop me a message, drop me a comment. I'll respond to everyone. If it's a bigger question, I'll still respond, but I'll do a separate blog episode and tag you in. If this stuff is irrelevant to you and it's just cluttering up your feeds, just unfollow me. You don't have to unfriend. Unfollowing will just stop the content cluttering up your personal feeds. But before you do that, please check out the YouTube Runpreneur channel, whereby I cover a different topic on every day of the week. So just because today's topic may not be relevant, there could be other days that are super relevant. So check out the YouTube channel, and it's all neatly organised by playlist, so you should be able to dip in and out of relevant stuff on an ad hoc basis, which hopefully you find useful. Also check out the Facebook Runpreneur community group, whereby I'm hosting the free resources that accompany this blog, which the first one being my 70-step process to content repurposing, reformatting and optimising across all social platforms. So if you do want to get unique, optimised and content across all your platforms, check out the 70-step process I go through, and hopefully that'll help you significantly. So all that's left to say is that the Runpreneur blog was set up to help entrepreneurs and business owners overcome the emotions of stress, which build up to overwhelm, which, if out of control, can turn to anxiety and mental health related challenges. And we do this by using exercise, or in my case running, as like a release valve or a release mechanism to control the amount of stress that we're allowing ourselves. And I think the entrepreneurs that do this best have this release valve, whether it's exercise, whether it's some other outlet. But the key thing is they do have that release valve to relieve that pressure, where they can get clarity, they can get focused, and they can keep control of what's going on in their lives. Without it, the pressure just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. It's like pressure in a pipe. Too much pressure builds, the pipe bursts and something breaks. And often if the entrepreneur doesn't have this release valve or this release mechanism, then it's either themselves that has a breakdown or the business that breaks. And unfortunately, either or is often terminal to the likelihood of that business lasting the test of time. Now, I've been there in my darkest days, I've lost several businesses because of this. I've lost several business partners because of this, and I've almost been bankrupt because of this. So I'm pretty well qualified and experienced to talk about this stuff, but I now have this routine in my life whereby I'm taking on more than I've ever taken on before because I feel in control. I've got that clarity, I've got that release mechanism, I can keep focused, and as a result I've made more progress in the last 6 months than I have in the previous 3 years. So hopefully that's a bit of inspiration for those of you that are struggling. So if you are struggling with this stuff, and I call it kind of, there's lots of words for it, entrepreneurial pride, entrepreneurial freeze, procrastination, if you are one of these people that are struggling under these emotions that every single entrepreneur and business owner experiences, and if you're one of them bottling it up, not opening up, not talking to people, burying your head in the sands, which I've done, so I'm not criticising you by any stretch, but my pledge to you is just drop me a message. Sometimes it's easier to talk to someone who's a stranger than someone who's one of your nearest and dearest, and there's no catch here whatsoever. All I'm going to do is just talk you through a few steps, implementable steps into your kind of daily, weekly lives that will hopefully make a massive difference. And there's been several entrepreneurs taking me up on this already, and hopefully they're back on the path, on the right path to success, as opposed to a pretty poor path which often leads to failure. So don't be stubborn, reach out, the support is there. There's no catch, I'm not selling you anything, because I always said that if this vlog just helps just one entrepreneur or saves one business, it's been 1,000,000% worthwhile. So that's it for me today. As always, if you like this episode, please give it a like, a comment and a subscribe. If you want to see similar content, please check out the playlist link in my YouTube channel. And all I'll leave you today is, as always, stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.